All right, we're gonna try this again. All right, so what we're gonna make today is a stencil. You can see that I've already started making a stencil, and we need to reinforce it with masking tape. So you're gonna need masking tape today, you're gonna need paper, and you're going to need your X-Acto knife so that you have this here, and you need a pair of scissors. So I thought that since I had a sponge, and this is a really great tool to use for making bricks, because you can get sponges in various sizes and you can do it for as big as you want. Obviously, this is too big a brick for our flat. So what I did is I just cut a little bit out of it. If your mom has an extra sponge you can use, you can grab this. And if that's the case, you're only going to make half of a stencil. I suppose you could make half of a stencil and then do it half again. Or you could make a full stencil, since this is what we have, and we have paper that's big enough. So what I'm going to do to make a full stencil is I'm going to just trace along the outside edge of my flat. If you're going to make half a stencil, then you can cut this in half. That didn't take very long to do. You didn't waste a whole lot of time. So we're going to just cut this out. I should have music playing in the background. Sorry. All right. So we're going to cut this out, and then we're going to put masking tape over it. And the reason why you put masking tape over it, you're going to put it over both sides. If you'll see in my example here, I put it over both sides. And the reason for that is so that when you cut these things out, you have a really thick surface that's going to withstand all the wetness of the paint and the paint brushes. So you do masking tape on one side, masking tape on the other side, and then cut it out. If I were to just cut out stencils just using this, this would get really, really wet really fast, and it would probably tear. So by reinforcing it with masking tape, we're making a really strong stencil that we could probably use over and over and over again if you wanted to make more flats, for example. You could do a whole set building just this quarter on. Okay, so you have about that much. It doesn't, please don't be exact. You don't have to be exact. You can go over. It's just tape, and then you're going to reinforce the other side and cut the edges off. So I wish I had enough time to speed this up. But you can be working as I'm working, if I don't get any hair in there. You can be working as I'm working. So catch up with cutting out your piece of paper, whether you want to do half because you want to do the rest in a sponge stamp, or whether you just want to do a full flat stencil. Just make sure there's no white paper in between. See, I got hair in there. So those of you that have worked in tech theater before, you know that you should always wear your hair up if you're working with power tools. No long hair in the theater, and closed-toed shoes. Just a word of safety from your sponsor. Okay, and then we're going to do one more and then do the other side. Because as you cut these holes out, you want to make sure that they're nice. There we go. Okay, I'll lift this up. Can I get that hair out? I may not be able to. There we go. All right, cool. All right, and then do the other side, reinforcing it. Actually, it was, if you know Heather Nochdurft, it was her mom that came up with this amazing technique when we were trying to do a big stencil for the pajama game. And so I give her all the credit for coming up with a way to do a stencil that could be reused over and over and over again. We made a couple of these. We started with poster board, and then we reinforced it with masking tape on both sides and made a nice size stencil that we could use over and over. I wonder if we still have some in the paint shop at school. There are other techniques, obviously, for doing bricks. My colleague and friend over at Annandale loves to do the sponge, but as we don't have sponges and we only have a small surface in which we're going to be making bricks, this is a really easy way to do it, and we can play with the different colors. When we cut these out, we want to make sure that there is enough space in between the bricks from top to bottom. Anybody else get their tape all wadded up? That's fine. Just pour out another one. They're really curling up today. I wonder if it's humid out. There we go. Almost done. There. Maybe the last one. Maybe we need another one. We'll see. Looks pretty good. All right, so we're done. Okay, so now you have this stencil that's reinforced with masking tape. So we want to cut the edges off because you're obviously not going to use those and you won't have to worry about your bricks there. So cut where you had the edge of the paper. You can throw that part away. And then cut the other side. Good. And if you notice that I have a little bit of excess here, so I'm going to cut that off. Good. Now you can make your stencil. So what you're going to need is your rubber mat and your X-Acto knife. So we have a rubber mat, we have the X-Acto knife, got extra on the, clear your space so that you have it. Okay, so I did a couple of versions of this so that I would see like how big I wanted my bricks. And I did one where there were a lot of bricks all the way across and it just was too many. It didn't look realistic. I also tried to paint with this particular stencil, and what I noticed is that there wasn't enough room from top to bottom in order to do the shadow and the highlighting. When you do a shadow, you're going to take your Q-tip and you're going to go underneath this brick here and create a little bit of a shadow 3/4 of the way down and 3/4 of the way up. And if you notice, if I were to do that, it would definitely run into my other brick where there would be a highlighter. So I learned from this experience that the thicker the bricks, the better. So we need to have a pencil. So grab your pencil first. And I'm going to show you the first couple of rows, and then I'm going to pause the video and then show you the stenciling so that you can get started and we don't have to worry about this kind of time on the video and uploading it. Straight edge. All right, so on your ruler, what you're going to do is you're going to take it and give it a good, let's see, how much is that? Give it a good 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. Good 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. And you're going to make 3 lines to show the bottoms of your bricks. So I'm going to make 1, skip over a 1/4, make another, skip over a 1/4, make another brick. Okay, so now you should have 3 lines. If you don't like them, you can erase them. So I know that I like this here. This is going to be my brick up. This here is going to be my, so in between, got about that much, there, here. They don't have to be completely straight. It's helpful if you have your beginnings so that you know that it's straight across. If you can draw kind of a straight line like those are, then do that. Otherwise, put your ruler above where you're drawing the line, so you draw the line here instead of below, so that you can see yourself work up. So then the second line, you're going to give yourself a nice 1/4 of an inch or more, and you're going to go in between here and here, just like that, because this is the offset. And then this is also the offset. Okay, so then at the edge, and I did this too far, at the edge, you're going to go off the page. So for this last brick, you're going to go off the page there. So we've got a nice brick here, one here, and then we're going to go off the page here. Okay, and like I said, if you want to use your ruler for the bricks, you can. And then I'm going to do the last one off the page. Okay, so it should look like this. All right, then we're going to cut it out. And you know that for the end bricks, you could just use your scissors. So you can cut your scissors off, or cut the end brick off by using your scissors here and here. That'll make that row go faster. And then you take your X-Acto knife, and the important things about holding your X-Acto knife is you want to make sure that your first finger is right on top of the blade, because you want to go as straight down as possible. Remember, we're using our rubber mat so that we don't harm any surfaces, and we're just going to make a cut straight down there, and that's off. And then we can make another cut straight down here. And you really are pushing down because you want to make sure to get through it all. And this is a great practice for your X-Acto knife because you'll be using this later on in the quarter. But remember, you don't have to do your lines. You can go, you just want to make sure that between the top row and the bottom row that you have enough. Now you'll notice that I'm kind of veering off. So just correct yourself. Try to go the line of the pencil mark. Remember, bricks are not perfect. So if your X-Acto knife cutting is not perfect, that's perfectly okay, because the shape of a brick is not perfect. This is you practicing using your X-Acto knife. Okay, we will have to spend the rest of the class with you doing your stencils and cutting them out and learning the X-Acto knife. I am going to ask you to be really careful because this blade is sharp. Oops. Okay, so if you get a point where like that where you can't take it off, then just go through it and scour it again. And sometimes you need to do like go beyond the other cut. Yeah, it looks like it didn't catch it. That's fine. There we go. Okay, so you've got your row done. Do the bottom row and then keep going with your pencil lines and cutting it out. Have fun.